Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cerise Fairfax. I'm coming at you right now from the Dominican Republic, North Coast, from a province by the name of Puerto Plata and a municipal by the name of Sosua in a little area called Los Charamicos. I live where I love and I love where I live. Today's story time. Every Thursday on my channel, we do story time. Most of the stories are based out of Sosua, some of them Punta Cana, some of them all over the island, but most times they are stories based in and from the Dominican Republic. This one here, I'd like to give shouts out to a friend named Raymond. Hey Raymond, how you doing? So Raymond came here to the Dominican Republic. That is his real name. And he was telling me that he was walking down the street and a woman went up to him and asked for his WhatsApp number. And he reminded me of this story that I've been holding on to. Now, this is not his story. So when he comments in the comments below, I don't want you to think it was him. Definitely not him. But I am giving him credit for this story because he reminded me. Now, this story is a true story, but the characters' names are fictitious. I protect the names just for confidentiality purposes. All right. So here's how the story goes. I'm sitting on the beach, on Sosua Beach, and I'm with a gentleman. There's him and there's his friend, and both of them said to me that they're not here for the women. They're only here for a good time. Their friends that they came with are here for the women. Now, both of these guys, single. One of the guys going through a real bad divorce and just doesn't want to have anything to do with any women at that moment. He's just like, no, real bad divorce. He's having financial difficulty and it's not like he can go pay for a woman anyway. And one of the comments he said was, Cerise, I'm not ready to buy a $3,000 wig. I'm like, well, wigs aren't that expensive, but maybe they are. I don't know. But in any case, the other guy, he's a little heavy set and uncomfortable about his weight. He had some psoriasis on his legs and he pointed it out to me and he's like, you know what, Cerise, I came down here with my friends because I'm just not feeling my best. When the world shut down during COVID, he went and he gained a whole bunch of weight. He's not the only one. I gained 80 pounds. Oh my gosh. But now I just lost 40. This story's not about me, but yeah, I'm doing a lot better now. I still have about 40 pounds to go. So, so he said that he's not feeling the best about himself. And the last thing he wants is to be, paying for different women to go have a good time. And he just doesn't feel good about his body. So he said he was on the beach to eat some good food and to drink some wonderful juices made right from the trees here, coconut, mango, and pineapple. And he said he just wanted to go into the water, the salt water, and heal his psoriasis on his legs. I looked at his legs, and as I was looking at his legs, he had his leg pointed out and he was pointing to them. And he was asking me if I know of anything here that can help him out. And I did know of a few things, and I started to suggest a few things to him. If you're suffering with that, there's a few things that you can get, especially hemp seed oil and also tamanu. You can buy anywhere around the world, but of course there's coconut oil. Different things work for different people, right? But he wanted something all natural. As his leg was sticking out and he was pointing it out, a woman walked by and she said, "Hola, papi." And she started to talk to him. Now, I've seen this woman here many, many times, and I know that she is a working girl. I just know she's a working girl because I've been living here and I've been on the beach for 7 years. You just kind of get to know what girls are what girls. Women will not do that. When I'm sitting at a table with gentlemen and, I'm cool, max and relaxing, a lot of the times women will not do that. The working girls, because they know me too. And they know that when I'm sitting with a dude, it's probably a business meeting. I'm talking to him about apartments or, relocation, consultation, or we're just shooting the breeze, having a couple of drinks and cool, max and relaxing. So the girls always respect that. And they don't come up to the guys at the table that I'm sitting at and try to pick them up. This woman, this day, I don't know why she did it, but she looked at me and she nodded and I nodded at her like, what's up? Hola. And then she stopped and she said, Hola, papi, to him. And he was like, Hola. She's like, oh, I know something for your leg. I can help you for your leg. And he's like, oh, you know something? She's like, yeah, yeah. Give me your WhatsApp. And he's like, okay. So he traded WhatsApp with her. Now, at this point, I'm thinking maybe she really does have something magical for her leg, for his leg. You know, she is a Dominican and she may know that there's some type of tincture here, some type of oil, some type of medicine that I don't know of here. So I can't just, throw away the fact that she may be more knowledgeable about something that could help. And so he traded WhatsApp with her. And then she walked away. As soon as she walked away, like literally, I joke you not, she was like maybe two stores down along the beach. She messages him and she says, Hola, papi, it's me. And he says, hi. And then she says, can I meet you later with the oil? And he's like, yeah, yeah. So he looks at me and he's like, that's her already. And he's all excited and he's like, yeah, yeah, okay, for sure. And now he says to her, okay, what's your name? When can I meet you? And she's like, okay, I'll meet you on Pedro Clasante. So they met that night. They met up at around 6 o'clock and he went and he paid for an oil. He got this oil from her, almond oil. Now, this almond oil is very popular here. It's perfumed almond oil. You don't even want to put it on your hair. Like, there's almond oil, which is really good, right? But then there's this perfumed almond oil that you buy like in the China tienda. The China tienda, that's a Chinese store. It's filled with chemicals and it's just going to dry your skin out more. And it's just like, it's nothing healthy. Anyway, she gave him that bottle and she said to him that it was 1,000 pesos. It literally is 100 pesos. So she told him it was 20 bucks, but it was $2. So fast forward, she said to him, oh, you know what? You want to sit and chill out? So then he bought her a drink and they started to hang out and he thought she was a very lovely girl. So they started to hang out a little bit more. And then after 3 days, they were hanging out every single day. And he felt like, wow, this woman is so great. She stayed at the villa. She was hanging out with him. She was cooking for the guys. And she was just cool maxing and relaxing. So now a few days pass and he contacts me and he's like, hey, Cerise, you remember some of those oils that you said to me might work? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, do you think you can grab some for me and meet me on the beach? I'm like, yeah, no problem. My neighbor makes up these oils and stuff. I'll see if I can go get some. Now, what I went and I got natural coconut oil made right straight from the coconut. And then I also brought a little bit of hemp seed oil and a little vial. And I brought some tamanu oil and a little vial for him. So I brought him those three. Oh my gosh. When I got on the beach and I looked at his leg, I was like, whoa, it was all broken out. And I'm like, what have you been putting on it? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, this stuff here. And he reaches in his little pouch and he pulls out this oil. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you got that at the Chinese store. You shouldn't put that on your skin. He's like, no, my girl put it on me. And I'm like, oh, well, what girl is that? And he's like, the girl that I met when I was with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, wow, man. I don't care if she gave me this stuff that doesn't work. She works. He's like, I think I'm going to marry this woman. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not laughing at him. It's just, I see it all the time. Guys come down here, they catch feelings, and it doesn't matter if it's a working girl. I've seen hoes get turned into housewives. I've seen it. And I've seen it for the best of everyone. But at the same time, I have seen a lot of disaster stories and heard a lot of disaster stories. Hence the reason why I even started story time during COVID. So he says to me, he's like, yeah, he's like, man, I never thought I'd be able to meet a girl in Sosua that's not a working girl. And I'm like, she is a working girl. He's like, no, she's not. And I'm like, yeah, she is. He's like, no, she told me she doesn't work on the streets. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe not on the streets, but I know that she's one of those girls that walk by you and say, give me your WhatsApp number. That's what she does. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. I see it all the time. And I see her all the time. And he's like, oh man. And I was like, yeah, that's very common. Like a lot of women will stop you. A lot of working women will stop you. They see that you're on your way somewhere. They like you. They know you're new here. They'll exchange WhatsApp numbers and they'll send you a photo of themselves immediately. What they're doing is they are promoting themselves. They are letting you know this is what they look like. And then the exchange starts. And he thought it was quite funny. We'll call him Trevor. Trevor actually didn't believe me. And he said, Cerise, this cannot be true. Like, you're confusing her with another woman. And I said, no, I'm not confusing her. I know her. I've seen her many times before. And he's like, I don't know. Maybe she stopped working. Has she's been with me for 3 straight days? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and I haven't paid her anything. I haven't given her anything. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, like nothing. She's cooking for us. She's chilling with us. And yesterday we went to her house. I already met her family. And I'm like, okay. Now that's also very common as well, right? And he's like, I met her family. Like, pretty sure if she wasn't serious about me, she wouldn't introduce me to her family. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty common. Like, they will introduce you to their family right away. And he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to take it slow. And I'm like, do your thing. I'm not saying that you are in the wrong. All I'm saying is that this woman is a working girl. I've seen her. I know it. You can ask her. And he's like, I did ask her. She told me that she doesn't work on Pedro Clisante. And I said, well, maybe she just works on the beach or at the casinos or something. I've only seen her most times on the beach. I have seen her on Pedro Clisante before, walking up and down the street. Or maybe she's just lying to you because she knows that you're new and you wouldn't really know. And he's like, oh, okay. So now fast forward, he gets back to the United States, and then she starts, nicing him up and everything, sending him beautiful photos of herself, telling him that, she wants to be with him for life. She just loves him so much. She doesn't care about his skin condition. Oh, by the way, the hemp seed oil that I gave him worked wonders. So if you have psoriasis or eczema or anything like that, get some hemp seed oil on Amazon, see if it works for you. I'm not a medical professional. I just know that it's pretty good stuff. Now, fast forward, she starts saying to him, I want us to be together. You have to come back down here and see me. So he did. He came right back down and he spent a weekend with her. He came on a Thursday and he left on a Sunday, and he enjoyed her thoroughly. He loved her the whole entire time. They spent a wonderful time in a good little apartment that I got them. He messaged me and he's like, hey, Cerise, you know what? That apartment we stayed in, is it available long term? And I'm like, yeah, actually, it is a long term apartment. I just got it for you short term because I know you were looking for something quickly and the landlord agreed to it. He's like, I want that apartment. Like, it was only $30 a night. It was really cheap and it was, fully furnished, and it's 450 for the month. Right. So he's like, I want that. So he put her in it. He's like, can my girl stay in there when I'm not here? And, she just takes care of things for me. I'm like, absolutely. Now, this is a working girl, and that's how she used to make her money before him. Now, she was trying to go on the straight and narrow, being in the apartment. He was paying for it. He bought some food for her, and it came with cable complimentary. It came with Wi-Fi complimentary, and so as long as she was in the house, she was fine. But then when the food started to run out, she had no way of buying food for herself unless she went back on the streets. That's the only way she could have went and got money. So she asked him for more money. She messaged him and she's like, Poppy, I'm hungry. And he's like, okay, I'm going to send some money. Now he messages me and he's like, Cerise, I want to send some money, but I'm not going to send it all to her. I've heard these horror stories that girls start asking for money and then you're on the line paying for everything. He's like, look, I'm already paying $450 a month for rent. I don't want to take care of her that much. Like, I can't be like, her whole entire existence. He's like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send some money to you. I'm going to send you next month's rent, And I'm also going to send you $400. Give her $100 a week. That's a lot of money. She can go grocery shopping with $100 a week. That's a lot of money here, in my opinion. You guys know how it goes. You just buy what you need, right? And if she's getting $100 a week, now this is where he kind of went foolish, because he told her that he sent me that money. So I met up with her and I gave her the first 100. And she said to me, just give me the 400. Like, it's ridiculous that I have to come to you every week for the money. And so I said to her, I'm like, he told me not to give it to you, so I can't do that. I got to respect the dude, you know? So I'm like, but listen, you're going to get the money. Like, you know, and she's like, does he think I'm going to leave? I'm not going to leave the apartment. I love the apartment. And I'm like, listen, he's paying your rent, $450 a month. He's also sent $400 for you. That's a lot of money from someone's paycheck every month. So just chill out, stay in the apartment. She's like, yeah, but when I go out, I need to make sure that I have Wi-Fi in my cell phone. And I'm like, okay, so top up your cell phone when you go out, you know? And she's like, yeah, but I like to go out every day. And I said, listen, you got a good man. Hold yourself, hold your corner, relax, at least for a month. Stay home, watch your TV shows, you know, just chill out. Invite a friend over. Let your friend chill out with you, you know? Let your friend bring over food or whatever. Save your money. This is a great opportunity for you. And she's like, okay, all right. That night, I see her on Pedro Clisante with her friends. She's drunk as a skunk. And she's like, oh, Cerise, hola, Cereza. Cereza, that's my name in Spanish. Cereza. She's so happy to see me because now she's considering me one of her best friends, right? She thinks I'm on her side. And I'm like, but I'm not on anyone's side. You know, I couldn't care less what people do with their money, what people do with each other. Now, the very next day, she messages me. And she says, oh, Cereza, you know, she needs money. And I'm like, money for what? And she said, oh, she went and she got her hair done. She got her nails done. She bought some panties and some underarm deodorant and a little bit of perfume. And I'm like, you know what? That's your own business. I'm sorry. You need to contact him and ask him, because you don't need to get your hair done and your nails did if he is not even in town. And if you're only staying in the apartment, you know, you wait for him to come. You have that money saved up. Impress the man. Once he comes and you know he's coming, go to the salon, get your hair done, get your nails done, get all that perfume and get all ready for your man. And then when he comes to town, stock up the fridge. Make sure that when he comes to town, your fridge isn't empty and you are in need again. And she's like, oh, but you know, I went out last night and it was my friend's birthday and I wanted to treat her good. It's another thing. Birthday is a big thing here, every day, all day. So I said, well, you got to ask him, you know, like, I have the money. If he says yes, then I have his money and I will make sure I give it to you. But please never message me and ask me for anything. Always message him and then he will message me. So she did. She messaged him and then he messaged me and he's like, Cerise, you know, it was her friend's birthday last night. She took her friend out for a couple of drinks and everything. And she said that she felt so good doing that. And it made her so awesome to help her friend out because her friend used to help her so much that he's like, I kind of get that. And, you know, when you're taking 4 people out, she told him that she took her friend out and then 2 other friends out. He's like, when you're taking 4 people out, it can run up. She took them out for dinner and she took them out for drinks. So you know what? Just give her another 100 and that should last her for the week. I gave her the 100 and about 4 days pass and nothing. All of a sudden I see her and I'm walking down Pedro Clisante. I'm going from one business meeting to another. And she sees me and she's like, oh, Cereza. Oh, she's like, it's 4 days. There's only 3 days left. Can you just give me like $50? And I said to her, I can't. I told you already. Ask him first and he can leave me a message and he can tell me. Whatever he says for me to do with the money, I will do it. And she's like, yeah, but I'm hungry. And I'm like, you still don't have any food left? And she's like, no. I had to help my family and I understand. I told her, I understand this and I get it. But again, it's not my place to give you that money. And she said, okay. And I said, ask him. You only have 3 days left before you're supposed to get the other 100. Ask him. Maybe he'll say yes. So she did. And she said, oh, Poppy, he forwarded me what she said. He's forwarding me all the messages that have to do with money and have to do with everything, right? So then he's like, you know what, just give her another 100 and go grocery shopping with her. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. Like as a matter of fact, I'm already in a situation that I don't do that stuff. I'm not going to hold on to money for your girl and for you. If you don't trust her, then you're going to have to deal with that on your own. I'm already in a situation where I'm not going to do this for you next month. That's just that. Like, I'm not a mediator. I'm a soul coach. I can help you with your life, but I can't help your girl stop spending money. And he was like, okay, I get it. I understand. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to give her this 100 and it's up to you to make it last for 7 days. And then I have the other 100. And after that, you're on your own. And he's like, okay. So now she gets that, the third installment. Okay. And she gets it 3 days early. When she gets it, it's a Thursday. So what happens on Thursdays here? Well, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's always a party. So now Sunday's here and she messages me. I told this girl, don't message me first, right? But she knows I care, right? So then she messages me and she's like, I could tell she's a little tipsy. And she says that she's at the river, stranded at the river. Now, I do know that the Dominicans go to the river on Sundays. It's just a thing here. They go, they play their music, they play dominoes, they go in the water. I've been there on Sundays many times myself, and I love it too. So she's like, she's stranded at the river. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to send one of my motoconchos for you because that's really nothing. It's only a couple of 100 pesos, right? And that can be taken out of her money from the next week. And she's like, oh no, it's a river farther out. And I'm like, okay, then take a taxi, and she's like, oh no. And I said, listen. I told you, don't message me. I told you, you're putting me in a very uncomfortable position. And now next month, I'm not going to deal with you at all. I already told your man this. So I'm going to message him and I'm going to ask him if I can give you the money. And that's it. And she's like, oh, no, don't tell him. And I'm like, well, then I don't know what to do for you. All of a sudden, it was literally about 15 minutes later, okay? Like she couldn't even get from the closest river here in 15 minutes. I'm walking out my door. And she didn't know that I live in this area. She didn't know that I live literally down the street from her apartment. She probably thought I lived in a gated community where all the other foreigners live. So here I am, I'm exiting my apartment and I look at her and she looks at me and she's like, and she starts laughing, slapping her leg because she knows she got caught. And she's like, oh, Saresa, lo siento. Like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, girl, you're putting yourself in a position that is going to end real quick. This man did something really good for you. He took you off the streets. He rented an apartment for you. He sent money for you to eat. Anything else that you need to do is for you to do anything above and beyond. Go do your thing, live your life. But what you're doing with this man is completely wrong. He paid for next month's rent, but I don't think he's going to pay for the month after that. I just think that you already are too much in just 3 weeks, not even. And she's like, oh, I know. And then she says to me, she's like, can I borrow 1,000 pesos? She's like, can I borrow 1,000 pesos from you? And I'm like, no, I don't lend people money like that. And she's like, oh, right. And I said, listen, I think what you should do is get 1,000 pesos. I said, do you have food at home right now? And she's like, no, just a little bit. And I said, okay, I think you should get 1,000 pesos from him and go to the Chinese store, go buy yourself some noodles, some Chinese noodles and the packages. Go get yourself some onions, go get yourself some mushrooms, some tomatoes, like a little bit of vegetables, and eat Chinese noodle soups because they're really cheap. Go buy yourself some pasta and eat pasta. Get some plantain, slice it up, make some mango, keep yourself full for the next week and a half. And shh, just be quiet. You will get that money and just sit back and cool max and relax. You're going to lose this man. You know, I messaged him and I said, hey, look, I think she needs 1,000 pesos. Like, if you give her 1,000 pesos, I think she can, go to the Chinese store. I told her what to do. And he's like, what do you think, Cerise? I said, I think she's just using all the money. I think she's just living a free lifestyle. She's not taking this opportunity seriously. That's just my opinion. And he's like, okay, what should I do? And I said, well, you know what? You rented the apartment for another month. You already forwarded that money. Just see what happens in the next month. Don't send her money and, tell her that you have that money there for her. And, he's like, just give her the rest of the money. So I did. I gave her the rest of the money, the last 100. And then he came down here like a week later, secretly. And he messaged me and he's like, hey, Cerise, do you have that spare key to the apartment? And I'm like, no, I don't keep the spare keys. And he's like, okay, is the landlord there? The landlord can let me in. And I'm like, sure. At first I thought maybe she lost the key, but then I could get what he was saying. He's like, I'm going to go down in secret and see what's happening because you know what? It just seems like, every time I message her, she's not leaving voice notes back. She's only typing now. And I just get a sense that there's someone in the background and I feel really uncomfortable with it. I said, all right, do your thing. He came down and he got the landlord to let him into the apartment. And when he got in there, she was in bed with another man. And she was in bed with a Dominican man. And so he didn't fight. He didn't argue. He didn't say anything, He just walked in. He saw it. And then he walked back out. He went to the front desk of the apartment, like to where the management is. And he told management to go in there and get her out. And they did. He didn't have to be with her. Usually I'm going to be doing a story time as well on a different situation like that. Look out for it next Thursday. But there was no problem getting her out. The management went in and they were happy to get her out. They went in and they were like, hey, you got to go. Take this man with you and you got to get out. And she packed up all her stuff in her knapsack and everything he bought her, cause he bought her clothes and before when he came down to visit the first time, right, for that, when he wanted to rent the place, he bought her like a whole bunch of little gifts. She's packing up all those little gifts and everything like that. And she didn't steal anything of his or anything. And she left. He felt bad. He felt like, he felt let down, but at the same time, he learned his lesson. And so I will tell you this, when it comes to being with a woman, you gotta be careful. Don't assume that because she seems innocent and she's spending all this time with you and she's not asking you for anything at first, you got to make sure that you don't give too much too quickly. Take your time. If you're going to rent an apartment, great. Put it on Airbnb. I help people do that. Put it on Airbnb. Let it make a passive income. If she wants to stay in there when you don't have a client, let her. Maybe pay her to clean it up after your client leaves. Let her make a little bit of money that way. You don't just throw money at a woman that is not used to having that amount of money, given to her like that. Now, I do know that she was trying hard not to go on the streets and she didn't want to go on the streets. I mean, it's not like half of these women really enjoy it. Some of them do. Some of them don't. But she was one of those women that she did want to stay in the house and she did want to go party with her friends. She did want to spend money like it's water. And she didn't want to go on Pedro Clasante and have to go work with the guys, So, I mean, was she a horrible woman? I don't think so. Did she really want him? I think she wanted his money. Was she prepared for a relationship and all that opportunity that he was giving her? I don't think so. I think that she was in a position where too much was given too quickly. And if he lived here, I do believe that something else could have happened. I do believe that she was a pretty good girl. You know, I never see her in problems or anything of that nature. And if he lived here and they were living together, I think it would have worked out differently. You know, so the fact that, you know, a lot of guys, they come here and they don't live here and then they get the woman an apartment, you have to be very careful not to continue to send money and continue to be taken advantage of. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you check out my channel on Tuesdays and every Thursday. Every Tuesday, I bring out a lifestyle video. Sometimes it's about someone that's relocating. Sometimes it's about apartments and real estate, or maybe it's just me showing you some great spots that I've been at. And on Thursdays, every Thursday is a story time. Thank you so much for joining me. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button for me, please, because it will let me know that you enjoyed this video and it will encourage me to do more story times. And enjoy your day. Be good to yourself out there, guys. All my information is in the description below and also in the comment that is pinned. Make sure you click on this video right here for the next story time. Take care, everyone. God bless.